Well, welcome to another edition of the New England Racing Show, and we're in Manchester, New Hampshire, Channel 23 Public Access Channel, also on YouTube every week. This last week, we went to Seekonk Speedway, Seekonk, Mass., which is right outside of Providence, Rhode Island, and they had an open-wheel extravaganza. They had Northeast Midget Association showed up with 43 midgets. 23 NEMA, that's Northeast Midget Association, NEMA lights, and 20 of the more powerful NEMA cars, midgets. They also had what they call the Pro 4 modifieds, four-cylinder modifieds, mini stocks, and the headlining division, I guess, would be the SK modifieds. And they had about 25 to 30 of those. And all the shows were really, really tight. We're going to show you the NEMA cars, NEMA powerful ones here. We started this about 5 laps into the race. There's the grandstands. They had a decent crowd. It was a real nice day. That was Sunday. It wasn't quite as hot as it was up here in New Hampshire, though. And they're lined up, getting ready to do a restart. In the lead is the 47 of Randy Cabral. He's a multi-time NEMA champion. Young man who's really got it all together. And he's tough to beat. Right behind him is the 74 of Doug Colby. Also drives an SK modified. And he was doing double duty today. Both cars are owned by Bertrand Motorsports. And they did pretty well today. I believe they took 2 out of the first 3. There's another restart. Another yellow flag. The 21 car of Jimmy Chambers is around in the first and second corner right there, the white car. These cars don't start on their own, so they need to unlock them out of gear. They're either in a gear or out. And he'll push it around with a four-wheeler, and then the push truck will push them to get them started. So here they come around to take the green. One more lap. It's interesting, Bertrand Motorsports has 3 midgets in there, and they have 3 different engines. The lead car, the 47, is an F-Slinger. The one on the outside is an Autocraft, which is kind of like a Volkswagen engine. And the third one is a Honda engine. He's a second row on the outside. That's Todd Bertrand. Also right up there is a number 9 of John Zitch. I believe that's John the inside car behind the leader. I hate to take the lens off the leaders. They had a pretty good battle, but there's a lot of battles going on behind them also. And you don't want to leave them out. Another yellow. That's the 16 of Matt O'Brien. Pink Panther car. As you can see, Randy's really good on restarts. You're not going to beat him on a restart, that's for sure. But Doug Colby's got a fast car, and he's trying to hang on the outside. Doug finally did get the momentum and got around Randy. Starting to pull away. The race is 29 laps. That's in honor of, this is what they call the Boston Louie race. And Boston Louie Seymour was Bobby Seymour and Mike Seymour's dad, who was a real famous car owner. They towed all around the United States, and they had a lot of drivers from the Indianapolis 500 that raced their sprint cars and midgets all over the eastern part of the United States. I believe they went to California also. One to go. And there's Doug in the middle holding the check. To his right is Randy Cabral and John Zitch, and Mike and Bobby Seymour on the ends, who pretty much sponsored this race. Some happy campers there. Even if you finish second, I mean, that's something to be happy with, really. And now's the SK Modified race. This was 75 laps, and they had modifieds from many different tracks, and I guess they would run their own track rules, which was pretty much SKs. They had some cars from the Valente Modified series. Some of them were from Stafford Speedway, some from Thompson. Oh, there's PJ Sturgis won the Hard Charger Award in the NEMA lights. The early leader was the 16 of Todd Ceravolo, who races Waterford and Thompson. It's a little harder to pass in these cars because they're a lot wider. Take up more track space, but there was, later in the race, there's quite a bit of passing, especially on the restarts. It's amazing the car control that these guys have, running so close to each other, through wide and not taking each other out. There's a lot of real good drivers in this race. Not a bunch of rookies, that's for sure. You have people like Ryan Preece from Thompson. There's so many to name here. Tyler Chadwick from Waterford was up there in the 27. Doug Colby from Stafford, who won the midget feature. Woody Pitcat, the white 00, ran up front from Thompson. Matt Hirschman, the black 41. The 54, Eric Burnt from Stafford, was up there. 44, Jeff Gallup, races out of Waterford. And there was a couple of girls in there. 74, Victoria Bergenti of Waterford. We talked to her. She's 22 years old. She started racing dare stock at Stafford, and now she has a modified. You're so lucky, Victoria. The 76 of Shelley Perry, who races at Thompson. Of course, the 88 of Keith Rocco is right up front. Keith also raced in the NEMA Light race. I believe they had car trouble. He had to pull off, but he was up there before that happened. I believe that's Ryan Priest in the orange car, second place. Behind him, Woody Pitcat. And Todd Cervolo is leading in the 16. And the 54 of Eric Burnt. I hope I'm saying it right, Eric. Kind of like these shorter races, like a 75 lapper, that you don't have the pit stops. You don't have people just riding around trying to save their tires as much as the longer races. So it really takes a lot of know-how to set your car up to be able to be good at the end of the race as you are in the beginning. You don't want to be too slow in the beginning and get lapped, that's for sure. I believe in fifth place, that's a 71 of Jeff Pearl. The black car behind the 54. But Todd pretty much got a good lead on the next four cars. They ran nose to tail. I don't know if they let him go or they just weren't fast enough in the beginning to keep up with him. There's a yellow. When they have a yellow in short track racing, it's a real yellow. It's not a hot dog wrapper on the track or something. It's somebody spun out, and they don't just have what they call debris on the track just to try to make the races more interesting, because they're pretty interesting enough. You see, the action really heats up as we get further into this. There's a spin out in turn one, caused another yellow. I guess on the restart, one of the cars didn't get up to speed, and it might have caused a chain reaction back in the pack. Here's a scoreboard, 44 laps complete. I love these double file restarts. It really makes things interesting. The faster guys can just hang on the outside. Of course, if you got a decent lead like Todd did, you don't want to see that. Puts everyone else back on the back bumper again. We took a tour through the pits before the race and asked these guys where they raced at, and they just say everywhere. Mainly Waterford. We'll be back there. We were there in the beginning of the year. We'll be back there later on. And the action at Waterford is just unbelievable. Nobody gives an inch down there. So the first 4 cars are really dicing it out here. Woody's taking the lead, Woody Pitcat. He's pretty good driver, races all around New England. That's the white 00. Eric Burnt from Stafford is second. It's a 44 of Jeff Gallup. A few other cars caught up in it. A lot of times they'll just come to a stop or intentionally spin just to avoid hitting another car, so it looks worse than it is. Some cars went off in the pits right there. They had pit stalls set up right off the track, lap 52. And they might change a tire or swap a couple of tires and make a quick adjustment, whatever they need to do, and then they'll come right back on. But it wasn't one of these races where they have 5 sets of tires like NASCAR does. Oh, his car's on fire. You can see the firemen are rushing to the scene. Good job. Round of applause.
So it looks like we have put the fire out and then 44 stopped in the car. So I gotta take the air check it, make sure it's ready.
Woody on the inside, first leader. Eric Burnt right behind him. Right next to him. It's a 71 of Jeff Pearl. He was one of the early up front runners. I think he went in the pits and came out. That's tough. If you come out in the back like that, it's tough to work your way up. "21 laps left." So they're going to be getting going now. Keith Rocco's up there on the inside, the 88 car. Oh! Round goes the leader. It's always an accident. Not on purpose, believe me. Or don't believe me, I don't know. Sometimes I just misjudge it, try to get on the outside and hook his bumper. But Woody has to go to the back, unfortunately. And I think the car that did it went to the back also. Still, I believe it was 54 laps. Complete. 56. We have a new leader now. That's Matt Hirschman. He was running up front. And Keith Rocco in the 88, second place. About this time in the race, they started to get a little sprinkle. The clouds came in pretty quickly, and they thought maybe they'd have a rain delay or call the race, but it stopped. I don't know how that affected people's driving. They might have thought that they better get going if the rain's coming. And all of a sudden, the temperature dropped about 15 degrees, and everyone was throwing on jackets. Where it was 80 degrees earlier in the day. Nice thing about Seekonk, it's not a horsepower track per se, so some of the modifieds that don't have quite as much power can run right up front with the more powerful ones. In fact, the more powerful ones said they have to detune their engines to race here. It's almost like a big circle. You watch the line of the cars. There's Matt pulling away. Keith's in second. I believe that was Todd in third. So they started to spread out a little bit. There's Keith Rocco. He races at Waterford mainly. But you never know where he's going to show up. Wherever he does, he's a threat. here, Matt's engine starts to smoke. You see a puff of smoke right there. It started to get more noticeable. That same green car spun out again. The officials pulled Matt's car aside and checked it out right there. And they determined he could keep going. He wasn't dropping oil on the track. That's the important thing, is to make sure there's no oil leaks that could cause accidents behind him as people spun out in the oil. So they let him keep going, and he went and got his first place spot back. I believe at this point there's less than 5 laps to go. Certainly don't want to see them take the win away from him right there. Matt's father was Tony Hirschman, who was pretty much a legend in tour modifieds. Matt races all over. He's not stuck at one track. I believe he races out in New York at the Race of Champions division. Keith glued to his back bumper right there for a while. White flag. Well, the engine made it. They say that they go best right before they blow up, so hopefully they can save it before they have to rebuild that engine. Good job, Matt. $5,000 to win. Keith Rocco ran great in second. 25, Matt Galco from Waterford was third or fourth. He's a young man that raced quarter midgets, one of the young stars coming up. Well, here we have some extracurricular activities between Tommy Barrett and 50 and someone else. So here they run the whole race intact, and then they bend their cars up afterwards. I can't figure that one out. Anyway, the NEMA lights also raced. I didn't tape that race because my son was in it, PJ. He actually won the race, and there's no way you can tape your own kid's race. You're just too nervous. I'd be shaking all over the place. But it was a pretty good day at Seekonk. I'm not sure where we're going to be next week. They're predicting rain Friday and Saturday. That would take out Lee and Star. But we'll find something. Maybe on Sunday we'll go somewhere and tape some racing. So that's the action from Seekonk. I don't know if we'll be back there again this year, but it's quite a nice place. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.